Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from Lancaster, Virginia, the latest news and recaps in the world of professional wrestling. Welcome to the Wrestling Artistry Podcast. And now, here's your host, Andre Smith.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 29 of the Wrestling Artistry Podcast. I am your host, Andre Smith, and today I am going to review this past week's Raw, NXT, and AEW Dynamite. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. I'm going to give a review, first off, Monday Night Raw, which was emanated from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Sami Zayn opens the show to an appreciative crowd. He feels a great deal of gratitude for the reception the fans have given him. He calls out his, I guess for the time being, former best friend, Kevin Owens. He wants himself and Owens to fight side by side against the Bloodline. Owens, however, says that he is done with Zayn, then told Zayn to ask his buddy Jey Uso to help him. Owens then just goes and leaves the ring. As Zayn is in the aisle leaving, looking kind of sad, Baron Corbin ambushed him, laying him out. Then Corbin got into the ring basically calling Zayn a loser and that he embarrassed himself in front of his family, friends, and all of Canada. After this, Zayn charged the ring and started brawling with Corbin. So we have officially Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. Corbin punishes Zayn in the corner, but just as Corbin was about to go for another shot, Zayn hits the Aluva kick for the win. Our next matchup is Dolph Ziggler versus Mustafa Ali. As Ziggler went for the famouser, Ali countered by doing a handstand, which looked pretty cool. Then he rolled up Ziggler with a crucifix for the win. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, comes out to address the crowd. Good grief. What you think about Matt Riddle? Anyway, moving on. He addresses the crowd. Before he does, Paul Heyman interrupts from backstage. He is sporting a neck brace courtesy of Kevin Owens from the Elimination Chamber event. He tells Rhodes that he can't beat Roman Reigns and that Heyman tries to get under Cody's skin by talking about the schedule that the undisputed champion, WWE Undisputed Universal Champion has to keep. Talking about, not only the matches, but media events and all this other stuff. Where Rhodes remains undeterred. Oh, side note, Heyman said that he would never suggest, and he said something about Cody leaving his wife all alone and stuff with this child and everything. And then Heyman said that he would never suggest that Reigns would try to keep his wife company because he's a happily married man. But then Heyman said that he wasn't. Throughout all this, Cody Rhodes remained undeterred and said that he is going to beat Roman Reigns at Mania. Next up is Asuka versus Nikki Cross. Asuka delivers a DDT from the middle rope for a near fall. Cross hits a Michinoku driver for a 2 count. Then Asuka ends up winning by submission. Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair was at ringside watching all this. And then she enters the ring after the match, coming face to face with her WrestleMania challenger. Asuka looks like she was choking on something. And then she had this dark green goo ooze out of her mouth and she just started laughing. And like she was going to spray Bianca Belair with a mist, but she didn't. And looked like Bianca got freaked out by that. MVP is in the backstage area announcing that Omos, the Nigerian giant, wants to challenge Brock Lesnar to a match at WrestleMania. This is going to be interesting. Next up, we have The Miz versus Seth freaking Rollins. Miz hits the running knee for a 2 count. Rollins hits not 1, not 2, but 3 stomps. The referee stops the match and awards the match to Rollins. Guess Rollins has Logan Paul on his mind. We have a Ding Dong Hello segment with Bayley hosting. Her guests are the WWE Women's Tag Team Champs Damage Control. As they're bragging about their title reign, Becky Lynch comes out. She says that she wants a shot at the tag belts. Bayley tells Lynch that she has no friends, and that is when none other than Lita comes out. Lynch and Lita issue a challenge for the titles, and Bayley says that the champs accept. Chad Gable versus Bronson Reed. Gable delivered a belly back suplex onto Reed for a near fall, which is an impressive sight unto itself. In the meantime, while the match is going on, Maxime Dupree has her eyes on Otis. Reed, as Gable was being distracted by all this, Reed takes advantage and then wins with the tsunami. Next, Elias is in the ring. He calls himself the biggest star in WWE, more or less. He calls out anybody to stand center stage with him. Bobby Lashley comes out and beats his ass. Next up, we have, for the main event, for the United States Championship, Austin Theory defends against Edge. Edge is putting on a clinic from the outset, showing that he still has it. Theory comes back and holds the advantage for a bit. Theory went for his rolling drop kick, but Edge countered with a power bomb for a near fall. Edge hits the execution for a very near fall. As Edge was going to go for the spear, Finn Balor comes out to distract Edge. While the referee's back was turned, Balor kicked Edge in the head, allowing Theory to hit A-Town down to retain his title. Afterwards, Balor attacks Edge, hitting him a 3-2 coup de grace to close the show. What is all these cats hitting their finish maneuvers like 3 times? He's trying to punish people? I suppose so. Anywho, on to NXT. Trick Williams faces Ilya Dragunov. Dragunov punishes Williams with chops and forearms. After Dragunov gets thrown out to the floor, J.D. McDonough comes to ringside. Dragunov wins with his flying headbutt. Tyler Bate arrives in the ring to talk about the journey he is going to embark on, assuming maybe toward the NXT Championship. But then Schism comes out, and Joe Gacy describes himself and Bate as kindred spirits. Bate, however, does not want what the Schism is drinking. As the mysterious group surround the ring, Chase U comes out to chase them off. No pun intended. Chase U versus the Dyad. During the match, Ava Rain gets too close to Thea Hale, creeping her out again. As Andre Chase tries to get between Rain and Hale, Duke Hudson gets double teamed and he falls to the Dyad. So clearly Hale is still traumatized. While they were all in the ring after the match, Hudson tells Chase that Hale needs to grow up. He also asks Chase, is Chase U a university or a charity? So clearly Duke Hudson is frustrated. Will he go to the dark side or go back to it? We shall see. Next up, we have JC Jane versus Indy Hartwell. JC kicks Hartwell's head into the middle turnbuckle. As she was about to do it again, Gigi Dolan storms the ring and attacks Jane, getting some payback from the other week when Jane turned on her. NXT Tag Team Champs Gallus versus Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. There are 2 guys outside the ring with some sort of cake. Gallus gets the win. But then afterwards, the 2 guys present a present the cake to Gallus. They said it was an anniversary of Pretty Deadly beating them for the NXT, I assume UK Championship. Then Wolfgang and Coffee beat the hell out of them until Pretty Deadly comes in, and then they ambush Gallus, repeatedly throwing him into the steps and everything. So this was a pretty vicious side of Pretty Deadly we haven't seen in NXT to this extent. So this could be a potential war between the two teams. Tony D'Angelo versus Von Wagner. D'Angelo wins. Afterwards, Tony challenges Dijak to a jailhouse street fight. Nikita Lyons said in the back when she was talking to Mackenzie Mitchell that she may be out for a year. And then Tiffany Stratton interrupted and basically said if she were attacked her, she wouldn't be out. She would be out a lot more than a year. So maybe that's a potential feud down the road. Next up, we have Alba Fire versus Ivy Now. Now had Fire in the Dragon Sleeper, but Ila Dawn was distracting the referee. Tam Paxley was on the ring apron on the other side trying to warn her partner of the shenanigans. Now and Fire ran into Paxley, knocking her off the apron. Then Fire hits the gory bomb for the win. And Paxley did not look too happy. Well, I would say this is the main event, but yeah, we shall see. Yes, it is the main event. I am so sorry. Got confused on my notes here. Braun Breaker defending the NXT Championship against Jinder Mahal. Will Braun hinder the Jinder on this day? Breaker knocks Mahal out of the ring, then executes a somersault dive over the top rope onto Mahal and into sheer. As Mahal and Braun are down in the ring, Sangha and Veer try to get into the ring, but the Creed brothers head them off at the pass. Breaker counters the Colossus and hits a spear for the win and retains his NXT title. As it was looking like Breaker was going to lock eyes onto Carmel Hayes, who was standing in the little crow's nest area outside the ring, someone apparently hijacked a production area, clicking onto all kinds of stuff. And that someone was none other than Grayson Waller. He talks trash to Shawn Michaels in the camera and then invites the Hall of Famer to a special edition of the Grayson Waller Effect in 2 weeks. It's interesting to see how that would go. Our final review here will be regarding AEW Dynamite. Emanated from Phoenix, Arizona. We start off with the AEW All-Atlantic Championship match as Orange Cassidy defends against his former friend Wheeler Yuta. The match had several pin attempts here from the get-go. Claudio Castagnoli comes to ringside and confronts Yuta. Castagnoli slaps Yuta and tells him to get back in the ring and then basically handle business. Yuta enters the ring and just starts upping aggression against Cassidy. Yuta hits an angle slam for a near fall. Cassidy wins with the orange punch to successfully retain the title. Ricky Starks issues an open challenge for Revolution, to which Chris Jericho accepts. The Acclaimed versus Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. Despite the Guns interfering, the Acclaimed win with Max Caster's mic drop onto Moriarty. Tony Schiavone starts to interview Christian Cage, but then all of a sudden Jungle Boy attacks Cage. And then as Jack Perry was about to deliver the concerto, Cage hits a low blow onto Perry, and then he proceeds to bust Perry open one of the chairs. Saraya versus Sky Blue. Saraya wins by submission with Tony Storm's interference. Then her and Storm were about to spray an L onto Blue, but Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker run the two off. Then Ruby Soho comes out, stands at the entranceway, and then she says basically she's not worried about anything else but a shot at Hayter's AEW Women's title. Then later on, it was announced that at Revolution, Hayter would defend her title against both Soho and I believe it was Storm. I had to go look at it again. I was distracted last night, so forgive me. Bryan Danielson comes to the ring to address the crowd. As he does, AEW World Champion MJF comes out, telling Danielson that he hates Bryan Danielson's kids. That he's Bryan Danielson because he takes everything that MJF wants for granted. He even addresses MJF's kids, sorry. Yeah, he addresses Danielson's kids, to which was too far. Danielson and MJF get into a pull-apart brawl. Sorry. Next up is Tag Team Battle Royal. It comes down to Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett against Trent Beretta. Jarrett eliminates Beretta, so he and Lethal will have a shot at the tag titles in Revolution. So in March, Adam Cole is returning to the ring officially after 6 months. Main event of the night is Jon Moxley versus Evil Uno. Uno comes in hot, but Mox weathers the storm and comes back. Uno delivered a senton bomb from the top rope to Moxley onto the floor. But then Mox stomped Uno's head into the steel steps, busting him open. Then Mox wins when Uno is unable to answer the referee after Mox locks in a sleeper hold. Afterwards, Mox will not let go of the sleeper hold, and then the rest of Dark Order had to get Mox off of Uno. Castagnoli and Yuta come out to battle the Dark Order. Then Adam Page comes out to start the brawl with Mox. Then Page gets a piece of barbed wire and wrapped it around his fist and nailed Moxley in the head, busting him gruesomely open. And that closed the show. And that was it for AEW Dynamite. Some via PW Insider, I was gonna report on some news here regarding this past week's edition of NXT. The audience dipped. So this past week's edition brought in 589,000 overnight viewers, which was down from last week's 640,000. So hopefully NXT will turn their fortunes around. And that is it for this edition of the Wrestling Artistry Podcast. And be sure to tune in next time for some more reviews and maybe even some news. And until then, fans, so long for now.